Hello, and welcome to Broker Than You. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'd like to thank our sponsors at Procyon Partners. They are one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. They specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of our podcast network and everything we do, and we love him very much. Green Street Trust International, owned and operated by Rennell Jump. They specialize in tax planning for businesses large or small. They will save you money, or they will get you a big fat return on your taxes. To schedule your free strategic tax planning session today, go to www.greenstreettrust.com. Pete Finch and the Finch Law Firm is out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you suffered any type of personal injury, a slip and fall, a car accident, your mother-in-law ran you over with her car, your wife decided to stab you, the Finch firm is for you. Pete has won legal battles all across the state of Connecticut, and he will go to war for you to get every dollar you deserve in compensation. He is not afraid of any insurance companies, and you always have to remember, if you're in a pinch, call Finch, and you can go to his website, thefinchfirm.com. Dynamic Human Performance, owned and operated by UConn legendary running back Andre Dixon. He trains boys and girls of all ages, of all sports. He started a new boot camp program 7 days a week. If you want to get in shape, 6 a.m., go see Andre. He has an athletic development program where he trains boys and girls in the sport of their choice from the ground up, develops them to help them reach their maximum potential. And Andre has sent boys and girls to college on scholarship for all sports. He's in Hartford, Connecticut, a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility. If you want to work with Andre, go to www.dynamichumanperformance.com. Down south, we have Julius Williams, who runs the Trench Mob. Julius was recently up in Connecticut, and he was talking with Andre. Julius trains offensive and defensive linemen. They compete in 5-versus-5 tournaments all across the country. They just did a camp circuit, and proud to say every college showcase camp they attended, a member of the Trench Mob earned a scholarship. He has sent kids to Florida, Florida State, Miami, Clemson, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, just to name a few. He also has a virtual program where he can train you wherever you are in the country, lifting weights, doing drills, and running and plyometrics. And you are also invited to attend any camps or showcases the Trench Mob goes to, any tournament, as a member of the group. To join and work with the best, if you're a lineman, go to battleofthetrenches.com. And the man we have here as the guest of the hour, James Whitfield of Luther James Insurance. He has spent 3 years dedicating himself to the art of financial planning. It is more than a career, it's a passion. And he also offers insurance services, mainly life insurance, and he does retirement planning as well. He makes sure law enforcement has financial stability, and he understands that retirement can be stressful because fear of the unknown is real. You can go to his website and get a quote at lutherjamesinsurance.com. So welcome, James.
Thank you.
And I wanted to introduce you to the group. We have Razul Wallace. Great to see you again, Razul. Not really, but good to see you.
Nice to meet you, James.
Nice to meet
Razul,
you too, Razul.
always busy with the House of Changes and his real estate business. And Ned Von Young, Fresh himself of the Fresh Fold Laundry Company. We'll hear about that later. Fresh, great to have you. Offering a wealth of knowledge every time we have you on. And the king of real estate in Erie, Pennsylvania, Laban Marsh. Laban, great to have you.
Good to see you all, man. It's great to be with you guys. This is awesome. Yeah, but just like in any athletic endeavor, when you got good people doing the recruiting and you just got to work with the talent, bro, you make it easy. And you guys were talking earlier about, I'm just glad I can set up my microphone, my headphones, and my screen to get it all and record it. That's as far as James starts talking about sharing screens and stuff. I'm like, dude, that is above my pay grade. I got to bring down my assistant for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, great to be with you guys. Steve, you are the glue to all of this and the networking king. You'll have to incorporate the best podcast host in the universe and networking king.
Right? Yeah, I'll add that in for sure. Yeah. I'll add that in for sure.
And before you get started, because I need to do this, my business coach instructed me.
Trevor, yes.
Yeah, it's Trevor Cornell, who's awesome. Because I was recently at a Ryan Shazier event, and you all know the Ohio State and Pittsburgh Steeler with a spinal cord injury. And so he brought from Pittsburgh up to Erie and did a fundraiser. And one of the cool things that he does is he offers what he calls Ryan time, which is either a face-to-face conversation or a Zoom call or something. But I started talking to my coach, and with all these people that ask questions, it would be great to put those questions kind of in a hat and do like a lunch with Laban or something.
So yeah.
Stew on that a little bit. And you, as my networking guru and marketing, let me know how we can spin that so that some of these people who have serious questions, I'd be happy to take them to lunch, answer any questions they have, and set that up on maybe a quarterly basis because
That's
I know,
funny,
something like that. But I didn't want to. I just listen when my coach instructs. I have to take heed and try to implement some of these things. So I just had to throw out there. You make it stick somehow. But thank you again for bringing us all together.
I try to go with the questions that are asked the most, and there's been a lot more as far as viewership and questions because of the group that we've had on and the variety of topics that we've discussed. So that was part of it. One of the questions that came up for pretty much everyone, several people asked about time management. Like someone like you, Laban, because you have several different entities in business, and Razul, the same with you, running a nonprofit and looking at real estate as well. And Fresh as well with your portfolio. How do you break it down a day or a week? Because there's only so many hours in a day. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's not 48. And you're all doing so much in that time. How would you say that you break down your time management? And you can start, Laban.
And I'll start because honestly, that is – when you're an entrepreneur, it is probably number one, especially to get started. I mean, if you are not good in time management, you will get trucked. Like I got trucked at New Hampshire from that tight end that I don't want to talk about. But I mean, honestly, it will blow you over if you don't figure out and a lot of time blocking. But the best way to do this, and I go back to my coach, is the Eisenhower quadrant, where you need to be doing the most important things and the most urgent. Okay. So if it's not urgent and not important, you better delegate that or get it out of your way. And most of the time, especially for entrepreneurs, it's dollar productive activity, right? It's doing things that are going to put money in your pocket or in the business. And so that's a great question. And time management is vital. And it carries we a lot of times as former athletes know, because Coach Rapone made me run gassers when I was 2 minutes late for one meeting, and that was the last meeting I was ever late for. So I think time management and then, that commitment to do what you say you're going to do. Those are that's just huge. So Eisenhower's quadrant,
right?
Look it up. There's plenty of visualizations you can do, but that is how you really, manage your time as efficiently as possible, because I like to get 8 hours of sleep. I need my beauty rest. So that means I've got 16 more to really get things done.
James, you offer such a variety of services. I would think the same applies for you. How would you say you break down a day or a week with what you're trying to sell and making the most of your time being efficient?
Well, I live by my calendar, so
Yes.
you know how I go. Basically, what I do is I spend half my afternoon reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I go to the gym very early in the morning, get that out the way, then I can sit at my desk and I'm refreshed. I try to have my whole day balanced out by tasks, little bit of tasks, because when you're doing this, yeah, you're your own boss. I always believe that what you put in life is what you get back. So if I don't have appointments on my calendar in the morning, I'm busting my butt to make sure that the next morning I have appointments. But preparation is reaching out to a lot of people. Just building up your client base. Sometimes you build up your client base calling your former customers or your current customers and getting referrals. And when you have idle time, and I'm a one-man show, my thing is to always be on top of the marketing, whether I'm paying for it or finding a way to do stuff for free that's not going to cost me, because everything comes out of pocket. It's a good career and everything, but I bust my butt on marketing. That
Absolutely.
Getting your name out there is where it is.
And it's a numbers game, right? As far as reaching out to people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
If you reach out to 80 or 100 people a day, that'll get you X amount of appointments, right?
Yes.
That's what I've been told as well.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. Especially, a one-man show, like you said, having your own business.
Yeah.
And Razul, you're similar. I mean, you and Ja work together, and then, you work with the Husky Investment Group, and you do have the House of Changes. You're also looking at properties to possibly invest in. How would you say that you manage your day, manage your weekly schedule?
So for me, that I feel like this is the constant challenge or question of being an entrepreneur, like the biggest one for me. And what it looks like for me is that I've done everything myself, and you get kind of maxed out in your capacity.
Yeah.
So the past couple of years, I actually been I sold a good amount of what I have, and I try to kind of minimize what I have to do so that I can. The goal is to free up some bandwidth to kind of create more structure, to be able to get more done, and to get help and get the right people in place to help with everything. But it's been painfully slow because when you try to do things by yourself, it takes a long time to figure out. So I'm in the process of getting some help with setting up the structures. A significant thing for me has been, whenever I can't figure something out, getting someone that knows how to do it to help set it up. And that's, what I'm in the process of doing. And I have a couple partners now I work closely with. So I'm taking it on more as a team sport and figuring out how to organize and structure things to make it so that everyone has specific roles and responsibilities towards a particular objective.
Right. Okay. And I know you also talked about an administrative assistant as well. You were trying to get one of those.
We do have a virtual assistant, and we have so one example is Ashley. She was on the call last week, and
yes,
Ashley, what she does is called fractional program management. So that what it is getting a specific outcome for you, and then she's paid for that, and she kind of breaks it down into a number of deliverables over different time frames, and you pay her specifically for that.
Right. And Fresh, you just sent me this, and I will put it up right here.
So
if everyone can see that.
So I took
Wow.
a Stephen Covey course.
Yeah.
And he did 7 habits of highly effective people, the 7
Yeah.
for the most part, and again, not perfect at it, but I've been doing it for some time where for the most part I follow this matrix, if you will.
Wow.
Break things down to what's how it says, like, basically what's urgent, what's not urgent,
Right.
important, and what's not important. And then from that, right, I usually have a to-do list. And on my to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
so let's just say we break it down to like A, B, and C level things, right? So your urgent and important things would be A, right? And then your important and urgent would be A. Then your important and not urgent might be B, right? And then your urgent but not urgent but not that important would be a C. So
Right.
and then I'll have like A, B's, and C's that I have on my to-do list and things I got to knock out. So my A's are most important. I'll try to and at the same time, I'm trying not to overflood your calendar. Like you can just put it on your to-do list. I could put 12 things up there, but we really know we only get about between 3 and 5 things done in a day for the most part when it comes like meaningful things. So because as you see in some of the quadrants, like they'll have like certain things that's like busy work and but then also it goes over like some of these things you need to delegate. Like, so you want to be able to break it down. So for me, I ideally love to be able to delegate most of the things that anything I can put to delegate, I try to get it delegated. You know what I'm saying? So the things that I do, I try to make sure I do, like, which would be in my A's.
Right.
And then, but as an entrepreneur, a lot of times in the beginning, a lot of it is like we are doing everything, and that's because some people are trained that way, but it's wrong, right? And I'll just be straight up with you. It's wrong from a standpoint of and I'll get to I'll say it's wrong, but sometimes you have no choice. So it's wrong from a standpoint of we'll go, okay, as an entrepreneur, I'm gonna start doing this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna sweep the floors, I'm gonna do all of the little work. I'm gonna do all of the things that don't push that are not income driven, and I'm gonna also try to do the things that are income driven. I'm gonna do everything when you're only one person. So ideally, the way you should have it set up is that in your planning, and if you are so privileged to do so, your budgeting and everything, ideally you want to first be able. One of your first hires should be like a manager. You want to try to have a manager that can manage a lot of that has management experience, that can manage the things that need to get done. Then your second hire should ideally would be obviously the workers that the manager would handle the workers and things like that. Then you hire your assistant, virtual assistants for that person to handle a lot of the different things that need to get done. That you can that's what a lot of stuff that you can that's 2 people to delegate it to. And then obviously your manager and then your personal assistant, they help build things down. And then once you want to expand and go vertical, when you get to that point as things are moving the way they need to, then you start looking at your C-suite type people. That's as you are growing. That's the ideal. But in most cases, that's not how we get to do it. Most cases it's just us. So we're handling all of the items and it's not maximizing our time. But in my experience, I try to follow, for the most part, this time management matrix that Covey has put out there, and it's been very helpful. Just from a standpoint, when I do my to-do list, I make sure I try to knock out my A's. If I got 3 A's, I try to make sure I knock off 3 A's. If I get to my 1 B, out of the 2 B's that I have, I'm good. And if I get to 2 B's and then I can knock out a C, that's an amazing day, right? That's an amazing day that happened. But then that's how you plan for it. Just kind of it's preparation. It's like anything else. Like when Laban mentioned, like, oh, he missed a meeting. He did that. He had to, certain things that might have happened like that our coaches we're basically instilling some of the consequences that can happen when you don't manage your time right or you miss something. Like we can all of the entrepreneurs on here probably can talk about a time where they dropped the ball, they did something where they messed up and it cost them money. You lost some money. You missed out on an opportunity for a deal because of, it could be, something that fall along those lines where you missed something, whether it merited or not. The fact that you missed that meeting or you missed that time and it was late, that person judged you, decided not to work with you, or they moved on to the next one. So that's all, what happened with coaches and things like that. We've learned the discipline to not to deal with the consequences. So it's good that we experience this in our development as young athletes and young men. But the real world tells us, the real world is like, it's much harsher than having to run gassers or having to, or having Coach Martin, tell you got to do 12. I forgot what it was. It was something like you had to do 12 sleds.
Yeah, the plate runs.
I had to do those, right? So, RIP Coach Martin. But those are the things, right? So time management is important, and life will determine the consequences if we don't do it correctly.
I don't know. Those would be pretty tough right now.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
So those gases would be pretty tough.
It'd be brutal in this weather. But I'll tell you what, though, following up fresh on the way you ABC things, going to James, his comment about, who you market to. There's a great book by Tim, and it's probably a couple decades old, but Tim Templeton wrote a book called Referral of a Lifetime. And what he tells you to do is in your contacts, go through and ABC people. And then if they're a D, delete them. Meaning the A clients are the ones who are repeat customers. They send a lot of referral. And then your B clients are maybe like for us in real estate, a B client is somebody who has purchased a home from you, but you haven't heard in a while. A C client would be maybe somebody that comes through an open house, somebody you met just in general. And then the D people who are on your list, but they never do any business, just to clean up your whole contact sheet. So that was a great book as far as knowing, like, when time is valuable, you want to go and get those A people. And I know, James, you had even mentioned, listen, your past clients have already agreed to use you. Yep. So that's cheap marketing. I mean, to go out and spend money on a billboard for new clients when you could be spending your money on things of clients who have already spent money with you. I've always found repeat clients are more likely to give you both referrals and new business versus trying to spend a lot of money on new opportunities. But I thought Tim Templeton's book, Referral of a Lifetime, was a great way. And there were more points than that, but that was the thing I remember the most, was doing the ABC and then D for delete. And kind of rating your clientele, because we would do a client appreciation party every year. And those A clients are the ones you absolutely have to make sure you're in touch with, because they're the ones that have to feel the most special because they've provided the most value as clients. So
those are the ones you roll out the carpet for.
Yeah. And again, you want to do that for everybody, but when you know these guys have been loyal and will continue to stay loyal, you do want to treat them with that red carpet for sure.
The other question we got, and because you all have mentioned someone, having good management, like Laban, you have a good property manager. Razul, you have a good property manager. How important is that to your business, having someone that you can delegate to and put something else on their plate that takes it off of yours? Because people were talking about investing in that. And Laban, you had mentioned investing in someone else, either a management or a personal assistant, the money that it's going to make you. Yeah, you're spending money, but you're going to make more in the long run. So it's going to end up being advantageous to add someone to the team.
Yeah, you want to add value. There's going to be cost associated, but that value should trump the cost all day, because A, it should provide some relief for you, the fact that things are getting done. And some of the most important things with delegating are also empowering, right? Because like for our property manager, he's making some, 4 or 5 figure decisions on certain items, especially for long term. And it's like, I need you to have the confidence that you are making the right decision. And again, it's like rarely does he make a mistake, because he uses his own judgment kind of vicariously through me, knowing how I would want things done. to James' point of rolling out the red carpet, you have to take care of tenants, especially with items that are of concern, because it may seem silly to you, but they may have something where it's vitally important to them. And I think that's where, prioritizing that is vital, and entrusting the people you've put in charge to delegate and empower them is going to make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
So,
James, as your business continues to grow, is that something you would eventually like to do? Have an assistant, a manager?
Absolutely. I have a virtual assistant now.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, he's in the Philippines. So what he does is he'll call some of my customers to verify appointments and things, like little things that I can't do. So like my week, what I try to do is not work on Friday.
Right.
I compress everything in 4 days. I mean, every now and then I might work half a day or something like that, because in my line of business, you have to have an administration day. Like you can't talk to clients, you can't do any marketing. Like you have to do your paperwork. If you don't do your paperwork, you don't get paid.
Right. 100%. I get that. Razul, you have a great property manager at the House of Changes, and now you have Ashley on the team. You're building around you as well, but you said the same thing. You still would like to add someone to be more of an administrative assistant to help you out personally, right?
Yes. So we have a virtual assistant in the Philippines also, and she's actually been very helpful with a lot of the things, a lot of the like websites and building, like creating documents and things like that. But it never feels like enough help. So
you always feel like
you're
you're
over
behind.
there and you're there, and it's hard to get somebody right in front of you.
Right.
Time difference and everything else.
Time difference. Like if you look at my desk right now, like I need someone like here that can like help to actually like manage and organize a little bit. But I think I'm where I'm at now is trying to figure out like Ro talks about understanding your numbers, right? Looking at the KPIs of your business, the I forget what the acronym means, but it's a way to like take the information that comes in, your expenses, your management information from your business, and then your ability to understand what's going on with it and manage it through that, and putting the right people in place. And I'm still in a place where I'm like growing, because we have a house manager for House of Changes, right?
Yes.
As far as like the properties that I have, I still do my self-management.
Oh, okay.
And right now,
so that's a lot.
One of the debates that we're having right now is, should we hire a property manager for the properties that we own already, or should we build a property management company or even acquire one? We're talking about doing some acquisitions, and Ja is he really feels strongly that we can build out the property management because we have a lot of stuff in place to do it. And we have someone that is who would be a great for the administrative aspect of it. So, which I think when it comes to property management, that's a significant part of it, having like one central location for the information to go to, tenants to call, input their issues or complaints into a system, receive payments along with the property management software. But I'm kind of on the, we're going that route. But it takes a lot of time to kind of implement or figure out how to organize and be really effective with it. I'm really thinking about going the property manager route, because from my perspective, they'll know things or they'll have management systems in place that are better than what I might have, and they might be able to add something to the table, like as far as the networking aspect alone. For example, property owners that they are currently managing for might be interested in selling, so you might have the opportunity to find an off-market deal, or another one of their clients might be looking for a property to invest in. So, they might have capital to invest in something else that you're looking to acquire. So I think that I'll keep you posted. I'm sure I'll be back on as the process goes along and let you know what we end up doing or what's most effective. Do we, like I said, we're starting off trying to build out the property management. We might decide in 3 months, hey, that doesn't seem to be as effective as we hoped. We're going to look to acquire a property management company or hire a property manager.
And Laban, you built out a property management division, correct?
Yeah, and I think that's where it's interesting because I was a licensed broker and I managed my own property, but then when the market shifted and sellers were no longer able to get the prices they wanted to get, people said, well, like my interest rate is so low, I'd rather just hold on to this and turn it into a rental, but I don't really have access to tenants. Could you manage it? And it was like, well, yeah, I guess we can. So I had to set up an escrow account specifically for property management, but it was serving a need. And then as that market has shifted, it's like we've had no trouble with vacancies. And so now you have sellers again with prices where they're at. Inventory is somewhat low. It's getting better. But when you have a seller with an expectation of a certain price in their mind and you put it on the market and it does not sell, if you explain to them that, hey, I can turn this, and I've done this before where I market a home both for sale and for rent. And then if a tenant comes in and says, hey, I would pay X amount and that fits the seller, I mean, prices have stabilized, but they'll continue to appreciate. And the beauty of rental in general is that you now have a confident tenant through a property management system paying down your debt service until you do decide to sell again as the market shifts or whatever else. So even for Rasul, it's like, as an agent, if you have somebody call you that says, hey, I'm thinking about selling, you can take that approach where it's like, hey, listen, I'm licensed to where I can help you sell this. But also, if you've ever thought about becoming an investor, I can manage this for you. This is about what rents would be. And it's a great way to kind of script and dialogue your way through clients who may or may not decide to go that route. But it just gets easier with that conversation. And you never know what seller says, well, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, wow, if I can keep this really low interest rate and maybe pull out equity to go buy and put down on the next thing, I can just use this as a rental. So to your point of our property management division, and we opened 18 years ago. I probably started doing property management for other people 16 years ago. And it's worked out really well because those are things that most investors that we work with don't have the time or the energy to do it. And that's why they've hired us. And we have the contacts for HVAC, plumbing, all of that stuff. So we're kind of a one-stop shop in that regard. And then, probably between 21 and 23, 10, 11, 12 of our sellers decided to sell because the market was so strong. So what property management does for you, Rasul, is that as that, you're managing these properties and the market shifts again, you're in a position to help them sell if that's what they decide to do. So it really, and for me being a real estate broker, it really puts it in kind of position for me to take care of clients for a lifetime throughout that whole process, whether they're buying, selling, or becoming investors. So yeah, property management is a great, ancillary, especially to any real estate sales and anybody that's in real estate in general.
Fresh, you had a question for your business. Do you have a manager, someone that runs Freshfold, and then you on your own continue to try to build your portfolio or seek out investment opportunities?
Yeah, I have someone managing it right now. That's me. So,
it is you. Okay.
So I'm managing it right now, but so that's a part of again, speaking back to when I said before about, it's technically the wrong way, but sometimes we don't have a choice. So me being in this position, it's like I have to manage it because, I'm just not there yet.
Right.
Because of the path I chose to go about running this particular business. Now, from a real estate standpoint, when it comes to on our portfolio where we have multifamily stuff, yeah, we have property management. And even when we have some of our smaller stuff, we still have property management. And the thing is it's very important to weigh the benefits of said professional, whether that's from a property management standpoint or any management standpoint, the specialties that they have. So in real estate, you might have people that are very familiar with, say, like single family homes and how to rent those. That person may not have the same resources and skill sets to handle the multifamily stuff. So, or even when in Razul's situation is even a little different. It's pretty much like almost like an SRO situation, single room occupancy. And just to jump off, I think I mean to jump around, but real quick, Razul, were you trying to did you want to understand what KPIs are? Was that what you were trying to say? You didn't remember the acronym?
The acronym.
I just remembered the key performance.
Yeah, key performance indicators. Okay, so just want to make sure we got that out the way. But the specializations are very important. So you need to, and Laban has alluded to this on previous podcasts. If someone has done something before, they're expert at something, show your work, where your experience. You should have a portfolio of what you've done. Like, okay,
right.
The benefit, Razul, of hiring someone that has experience, say with like SRO or some kind of board housing of sorts, somebody who has experience managing that, they know things are reoccurring. Like we know as real estate owners, we know certain things are going to happen, right? Like boilers have a life, HVACs have a life. We know these things are going to break down after a certain point. We know we're going to run into a bad tenant sooner or later, right? We just know it's just going to happen. It's inevitable. Everyone is not going to be good. It's just what it is. So we can prepare for that. But if everything for you is new because you're trying to build from the ground up, that's one way to go about doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like Laban's probably forgot a ton of the things that he's just from a time elapsed standpoint of all of the different horror stories. But he probably could run off. He could probably tell you 3 right now that he's been through just first 3 years of building this thing out, even though he had help, right? Right. So it's tough. So just be mindful. You got to weigh. Okay, build out or hire. I think if it was me, I would say, hey, if I have it in my budget, I'm a hire. I'm at least even if it's on a temporary basis to bring someone in that has some experience or to hire a company with the purpose of understanding, I'm going to learn and I'm going to make sure that we are taking notes and knowing everything to do. This is what I would do different with my company. This is what I would adopt that they do. This is what I would take and add. This is how I would build this thing out. So you can kind of, in a sense, do both. But I think the most important resource you have, we always talk about this, is your time. So it's going to take you time to build this thing out. But I tell you, you'll build it out faster if you went and you sacrificed maybe a year, hired somebody, learn all the tricks of the trade, learn everything, the do's and don'ts, and then year 2, go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a stab at it. But off the bat, from scratch.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that's where, as an owner and manager, once you've done it yourself, you know when you hire somebody how much time it should take to do those tasks. And if they're taking way too long, you get suspicious. But if they bang it out without you, that's the best, is when you don't even ask them to do something. And they're like, oh, no, I took care of that also. I figured that needed done. It's like, man, yes, get me more of those people. My mom has always said it, like, I don't want to have to ask you to do it. Like, part of it is just kind of learning on the fly, seeing what I do. And then and that's where I'm saying, when you delegate, you got to empower these people, because they are going to make a mistake, just like we've all made mistakes. But how can you support that? And then how can you help foresee those red flags in the future? But I think, again, that's where, and I tell anybody I've hired, it's like, hey, listen, I'm not above this. I'm beyond it. I've already done this. I do it if I need to. But this is what I'm hiring you to do. And I know what it takes and what my expectations of you are. So I get worried when people buy into whether it's a franchise or a business and they've never done it. They've never been a foot soldier. They've always just been the executive in the air conditioned room. And it's like, dude, you have no clue. And I think that's why we try to empower and compensate our independent agents so well, because we know how hard it is. We've all sold real estate and it is not easy to do. And so we feel like for our agents, our experienced agents, they deserve to take home a little bit more, and we'll get better at managing our money, knowing, kind of what it takes, because we've been there before. And that is what's generating the revenue. So, yeah, that's a key factor, is knowing what it actually takes and not just pointing and telling somebody what to do.
Fresh, you had several questions because you mentioned AI last week, and how are ways that people can use AI to benefit them and take certain things off their plate. That was of interest because I don't think people are using it to their advantage.
There's tons of ways you could do it. For me, I'm always about, the KISS method with anything, right? Keep it simple, student, right? Some other people might use
I thought it was keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. So again, I was an educator. You have to adjust to your audience, right? So, and I would say, so when you use the KISS method, you keep it simple. There's some very simple ways to use AI. And it's just as simple as how you would do most of the stuff that we currently do. For one, it always starts with a question. But what you want to start developing is, say, prompts. For instance, when you literally so I use Razul as an example because we've been talking about his situation with his House of Change. So, and KPIs. You can ask AI about, for the industry specific. You can always prompt them to be a professional or a high level professional in whatever industry you're in. Right? After you prompt them to be a high performing professional, what have you, then you can say, you can ask. So, for instance, what KPI? Can you give me a list of KPIs that someone in your position would implement for this particular, in this particular industry, right? Then it'll lay out certain KPIs. Then you can do this after you have already done what you've done or prior to, and you can say, okay, these are good. Or you could have had 7, and out of the 10 you saw is one other one you can add to it. That can be one of the difference makers in developing your KPIs. So I would say it is great for developing rules, procedures. Is good in kind of removing a lot of busy fluff work that you would do. So, for instance, when we used to have to write papers back in the day, we try to butter it up. We try to put a lot of little filler in there.
You did.
Right. So AI is gonna do a bunch of that. It basically puts in a bunch of the key important things in filler that you can just take out certain things that you want and swap out what you deem to be more important. So you can use it in a bunch of different ways. But I would say just in terms of helping you with, say, structures like KPIs or rules or manuals. Things that are important are good things to just kind of use them for. And then you also can go high level, right? But I'll just keep it with the simple stuff, just simple things that help you run things. Or forms. You can have forms that you want to have done. You can say what a typical, or create me a rental agreement. Create me a basic application. Yeah, and you can compare it. It's not, and I'm not challenging you, Laban. Laban, I know you have some of these agreements and stuff, right? Like a tenant, contact sheet information form. You have one already, right?
Yeah.
Ask AI to create one and compare it, and you're gonna go,
See what it looks like. Yeah.
Dang, it might be missing one thing, or it had this that I didn't even ask for.
Yeah,
just simple stuff like that.
Can I cut into that for a second?
Yeah.
A buddy of mine put me on to AI because I'm a do-it-yourself kind of person. I've had AI write ads for me, and I mean, they came out.
Were they successful ads?
Yeah. They actually, because I'm a graphic person. I was a graphic artist before doing insurance. In my head, let me come up with a couple little catchphrases and put some graphics behind it. I said to AI, write me a campaign for tax-free retirement, and it came out with a whole plan, just like a marketing person did it. And I've used ads for AI just to put on my LinkedIn to attract customers, and got got attention from a couple of people. So AI is here to stay. It's great. It's awesome.
I think that's how to leverage it the best way possible. And I think that's where, again, in our industry, we will always have that face-to-face interaction.
Yep.
But how we do things, and I feel like in real estate, especially since the pandemic, like we were always, our forms have been online. We can do digital signatures now. I mean, I rarely see both clients and other agents that I work with anymore because of email and how easy things have gotten. But I do still think it's important to have that human component. But yeah, when you talk about back office stuff, procedural things, and especially, honestly, one of the things I learned earliest about being a business owner was having systems in place. And my dad was an engineer. He was a drafting engineer. And when computers came out, he was on the Y2K board for his church because the world was going to end. But it's like he wanted to know, okay, how do I work a computer? And the very first thing should be turn the computer on, like very simple, but also very procedurally. So he helped us create our checklist for our agents, because in our business, like you have to have a lead-based paint agreement and they have to sign an initial everything now. So once you have systems in place that you can replicate, duplicate, I mean, that's where I'm sure AI can help in that. And to your point, Fresh, like insert things that you never thought of. Like we didn't know our leases did not have that you could not smoke in the units, like cigarette smoke, any type of smoke. And we took somebody to court and the judge is like, no, there's nowhere on your lease does it say you may not smoke in the unit. So we added that to our leases. That's in every one of our leases now going forward. But yeah, so there are things that you might miss and this is produced by our local apartment association. And so there are some addendums that you might need to add, but once you learn and do it once, it won't be it won't be outside of another lease, because it's so vital to have all of those systematic things in place. So I don't use AI like I could or should, but it is definitely not going anywhere. And I think the better you can utilize it, especially for the due diligence side, which is vital. To analyze property, it is pretty wild, the stuff that they're learning, and it's all just data, more data. So,
yeah,
James,
Yes,
you had mentioned being able to work with real estate companies, and especially the entities that the guys on here have. What are certain things that you offer, certain things that you could do that would benefit them?
So, for argument's sake, if you're a company and you have 3 or 4 people at minimum who are like executives, I can sign you guys up for benefits. And when I say that, I can do what's called a key man policy. So all 4 officers will have coverage of insurance. And let's say somebody quits. Like you see these CEOs, and when they're getting let go, or they leave the company and they're walking away with like these
golden parachute.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
I can set you up for something like that. I can
Really?
also, yeah.
Well, and that was something that was mentioned to us early on, with my mother being one of our, top revenue generators. That's exactly what you would do, is put a key man policy, just heaven forbid anything happens. But even in that regard, James, do you one of the things we've always had insurance wise is what they call an umbrella policy, right? Because you don't want them to be able to pierce the veil, but it's like, those are things where if it's outside of a specific property or something like that, and umbrella policies are couple $100 for the year, I think. They're not really that expensive, but anybody who owns a business or multiple businesses should have that, correct? In place, an umbrella policy. Okay. Can you tell a little bit about that?
I don't do a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done more key mans only because, people want to walk away with technically hide their money, technically. I've done more Keymans than the group umbrella stuff, because the group umbrella is a different kind of insurance I don't do.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like commercial insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like for argument's sake, you bought a car and you're pricing out which carrier is the cheapest. That's how that works.
Well, but not even the cheapest, because I tell you what, and I go back like the homeowners policies. Another experience I had was there that for like $50 for the year, you could get a sewer backup prevention.
Yeah.
And I somehow didn't have it on there, and then it backs up, and it's like, that's great. So just make sure when you shop insurance, whatever insurance it is, that you make sure you understand exactly what it is that's being included, because they're not all the same. That's for sure.
Now, the one that I specialize in the most is wealth building. So you can pretty much, you know how like the phrase is trust fund baby.
Mm-hmm.
I can do something where I can put a bunch of policies together, like if you wrote up your family, and instead of mom and dad being the beneficiary or something like that, we set up a trust, let the trust be the beneficiary, and all of the policies will, like the death benefits or whatever, will be under that one umbrella, so that not one person gets all of the money. It's distributed amongst everybody. So I started working on some hypotheticals. Like I did my grandson is 3 years old, and I put $40,000 of coverage on him. That's just the premium. So if something ever happened to him, God forbid, his parents would get like $1 million. But I did it more for building up his college money, so that no one has to, do a college loan. So by the time, I did 20 grand, if you want me to show you.
Oh, wow.
Let's see. Share screen. Let's see. Allow. Here we go. Let's see. Did it come up?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let me try to zoom in a little bit. So he's 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
He's 3 years old. So what I did was I put 40,000. What you see here? I did 21 year, 20 another year. So when you see here where it says accumulation value, this is the cash built up. So you in your first year, you really don't make any money, but his death benefit is $925,000, right?
Off of 20. Wow.
Now, he's going to make 6% roughly every year, compounded interest. So the second year, for another 20 grand, so we got 40 grand total, he would get 35,000 in cash. So he's still losing a little bit of money in the accumulation value, but you're not really making anything in the first 4 or 5 years anyway. So what I did was I borrowed 20,000 from this 35, and in 3 weeks put it back in his policy for another 20,000. Now he's at 55,000. See how each year his death benefit goes up?
Yeah.
So by the time, let's just skip all of this. By the time he is, well, let's say this. By the time he's 16 and he wants his first car, he has $254,000 to play with.
Oh my God.
Obviously, I put a limit on that because I own the policy. So he's lucky if I give him 40 grand out of it. And that's a real good car for 40 grand. But he still has money in the policy. So his death benefit is 1.1.
Wow.
By the time he is ready to go to college.
Oh, it goes all the way down. Okay.
So, and you go to college at what, 18, 19 years old? So
Correct.
let's just say at 19, college is 80 grand. He done paid for, he has $448,000.
Wow.
And I have
That's
this going all the way till he's like in his 30s. I'll be long gone by then. But by the time he's 35,
Oh, it can keep going. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. And
so
then
he has 1.3 roughly in cash, tax free,
Tax free.
and his death benefit is $3 million.
Wow.
But I put all of this into a trust.
Right. Right.
now,
'Cause
James,
Yes,
real
sir.
quick, talk
So
about when is it fully funded? Tell them when this is fully funded. Is it in the beginning or is it after over
Over a period of time. What you want to do is you want to overfund these things. So like, even if you have $5,000, you know, I would do like $5,000 a year and then borrow the money out and put it back in each time. You'll get yourself a little, you know, you'll have yourself a little nest egg. But like, again, I would put this into a trust.
The trust. Right.
Because, you know, by the time he's 30, I'm long gone. So I'm not benefiting. Now, all up until this time, if I needed to pull 20, 30 grand out, I can't.
Right.
Even 100 grand. Because, you know, he's 21 here. He's 21 here and he'll have $410,000.
And that's without paying taxes.
That's without paying taxes. You don't pay taxes on insurance.
Oh, okay.
So if you're putting the money back into the policy, because it comes out of the death benefit if you don't pay anything back. So it's, you know, if you borrowed 30 grand and you never paid it back, then your death benefit is minus 30,000. But the cool thing is the money you're borrowing is the insurance company's money while your money's still working. You know, I did one for my daughter for $250. So you don't really make anything in the first year. I put in another $250 for the following year, and she's at $406,000. But each year, now you're borrowing. I did it where I borrowed $250 each time, but then I knocked up the amounts to $400 because here's what she has to play with.
Wow.
So my daughter's 26. My
And then
daughter's 26. So this is how you set up your family.
And then the benefit is
There,
geez,
at 35, she has $15 million in a death benefit,
that's amazing.
and that goes right to the trust.
Right.
So by the time she's ready to retire, let's say she wants to retire at 55. That's the cash value.
Jeez.
Yeah.
But this is how you set up a trust fund.
Right.
In all honesty, my grandkids will never have to work.
No, you took great care of them.
and if and when she goes, 44 million is in the trust.
And this is something that you offer clients. This is something you could build out to a client. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, if you're a business owner, if you're somebody who has a net worth of anywhere between 2 and 5 million, I can do what's called premium financing and finance your retirement through a loan.
Right.
But you have to be up until it has to be anywhere between like 25 to 50, 55 for you to reap the benefits.
Right.
But this is like what I specialize in doing.
That's impressive. Wow.
Yeah. And this one here,
That makes sense.
this is just straight cash. This is straight cash.
And it's all tax free. Wow.
Tax free.
That is a lot.
Like technically you can buy yourself, you know what Elmer J. Fudd says, I'm Elmer J. Fudd. I own a mansion and a yacht. You can buy a plane.
Don't Don't do that. It's funny though, because, and we talk about that a lot, where it's like, buy things that grow, not things for show.
Yeah.
And I think the more you invest in real estate and things, it's like, listen, I like driving nice cars, but almost go back to like the time management thing, where you think about where you put your money, and you want to put money where it's going to grow, or at least not go away. Like when you buy a vehicle and you drive it off the lot, I mean,
It's
you
already
immediately lose value, and it's just really hard. And then you go back to like, even whether it's stocks, insurance, like when you put money down, what's the ROI on that? And the beauty of real estate is the leverageability. And it's been challenging with rates where they're at. But they've come down to where they're more reasonable. Like I just got quoted on a commercial rate at like 6.39. That's not bad at all relative to where even when I started 20 years ago. So again, I think what you think, where you put your money, and is it going to grow for you? And I don't mind if it doesn't grow right away. I mean, James, your grandson being 3 years old,
Yep.
I mean, I don't even look at my, portfolio as far as the stock market, because I don't care if it climbs up 10,000 points or drops 10,000. I actually kind of hope it drops so I can buy it for less expensive.
Now, to be honest, Laban, this is better than putting your money on the stock, because your money's
It's
on
on
the
you.
Well, you're putting it on the S&P. So what
Technically,
happens?
you put it in stock, right?
Yeah.
Technically, you are.
Yeah, technically, but what happens is, let's say the market goes to crap, and we're in a recession, and the Dow's lost so much money or what have you. A lot of people who have 401ks and investment portfolios are losing money.
Right.
So with this particular thing, your money stays the same. Your money does not lose value at all. And it's very rare that the S&P really tanks. But in case it does, like if anybody has doubts, oh, I'm going to lose all my money doing this, this is the safest way to go.
Yeah, you got it all planned out.
Exactly. You can do this, or you can do a Roth IRA. But me personally, I think the Roth IRA is good for 401k rescues. And I mean, even the IULs are, but it all depends on how old you are. So if you're like 60, 65, and you got like $1 million sitting in your retirement that you want to build up tax free, I would suggest doing a Roth. Or if you have a grandkid or a daughter or somebody who's younger, put it under them so you can reap the benefits of building up the cash value, because you build up the cash value in honestly almost 10 years. You'll really, yeah. And actually even in less time, depending on how much money you put into it.
Wow. Well, we got a message from Derek, who says that he loves the energy of this group and would love to have discussions with all of you. He just is curious to know, and I'll give this to each of you before we go, what your goals are for the near future in the next 2 years. What do you hope to accomplish? What are you looking forward to? What are you planning on doing in the next 2 years? And you can start, Laban.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And I'm anxious to see what the next 2 years brings in regards to the market, because I've told people, and I have, my list of timelines of when I bought things over the last 21 years. And there has been, we bought a property in 2020, a property in 2022, but before that it was 2016. I mean, that's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So the majority of our portfolio we built from 04. The only year we didn't buy anything was 09. So from 04 to 2016, I was buying one or more property. There was 07, 5, 08, 5, 2011, 6, 2012, 4. So I look at it like I am anxious to get back in the market.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I like multi-units. We've got that big 11 unit. And I think I'm going to try to focus on some of those larger complexes. Which reminds me, I saw somebody recently, and this was not locally, but they bought an old school and turned it into 31 units of condominiums. So, I think when you start looking at retrofitting some spaces that have good bones, but have what we would call negative obsolescence, meaning they just don't fit what people are looking for in today's market. When you can go in there and retrofit them into residential living, I mean, that is something where we need good quality housing. And I think those are the types of opportunities that should start coming around over the next 2 years, hopefully, because they've just been so hard to find over the last 8 or 9, quite honestly. So for me, I'm looking forward to how this market's going to shift and where we can capitalize on some larger residential complexes.
And James, I'll put you in touch with my little brother. He just had a baby, so we
Okay.
have a grandkid now. So
Okay.
something like that would be perfect for him.
Appreciate it.
But the same thing. Any goals for the next 2 years? Any for the near future that you'd like to accomplish?
Me personally, my goals for the next 2 years is to build up a team. I'm just not ready to relinquish power just yet, or really spread out. And it's only because I have to have a system in place that fits everybody.
Right.
Because when it comes to, and this is from experience, I used to manage people. I used to work for a cable company, and I had to manage a sales team. I'm very impatient because I expect to see me and everybody else.
Yes.
And when I don't see it, and I don't see the hunger, because I'm like, at the end of the day, we all got to pay our bills. I'm not saying to go out there and really bust your hump, but you don't have bills to pay, you don't have kids to take care of or something like that. It shouldn't even take that much for you to be motivated. If there's a way I can show you to make $1 million, are you going to listen, or are you going to half-ass it and you're only here for a paycheck? So I look for people like myself when I'm looking to hire, because I don't want to have to run behind anybody. So it's going to take me a good year or two to really, really trust people to do, because this here, there is no benefits. I don't, it's all commission.
Yeah. You eat what you kill. You eat what you kill.
Yeah, hustlers like that, though. Hustlers like that. And the one thing I would tell you, James, that my mother also always told us is hire people better than you.
Yep.
And again, I think it's great to be good at what you do, but believe me, and we know this as athletes, there is always somebody better than you. And if you can humble yourself to accept that and then put them in place, delegate and empower them, and that's where I have Marcus. And I can't rave about him enough, because he makes my life so much easier, because he's so much better. Honestly, I think in part with people, especially tenants, empathetic and things like that. So that's vital to hire people better than you.
Yeah, that's a big plus.
Rasul, what about you, sir?
I would say my most significant immediate goal is to build something. I've been acquiring things for many years, and before 2025 is out, I'm gonna have something dug in the ground to start to build the foundation to build up. That is, I think, the most significant immediate goal. And in addition to that, I'll say within the next 12 months, acquiring a business is another significant goal. But one other thing that I did, we got off the topic of AI before I could come back to it, but I just wanted to say that, we're so driven towards production, development, and consumption that a lot of the times we don't think about the consequences of the things that we do. And I just wanted to bring up that AI does have a significant environmental cost. For every prompt that you ask, it consumes about a half a liter to a liter to just keep the systems cool.
Really?
Yeah. Google and Microsoft alone use billions of liters of water annually for cooling, right? Just to keep up with AI. And it disproportionately impacts, Black and brown communities, because those are the communities that usually tend to have issues with water scarcity, contamination, or other environmental neglect. So I just wanted to bring it up to say that it does, every time we use it, because it is convenient and it does cut down on work, but I think that we should just be aware of the costs.
And Fresh did mention that last week too, I believe, about AI and some of the problems with it. But Fresh, the same thing with you. I mean, your business is rolling, your portfolio's rolling. What would you say your goals are in the next near future for the year or two?
Well, I would say for the next couple of years, my goals are like, for the most part, threefold, right? So it is personal, because we're all complete human beings, right? So I know we're here talking about business and stuff, but still, like, probably Labe is probably going to go to practice when he leaves here, right? He's going to be a coach.
Starts at 6, bro.
Right, right. So you got what, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can hear Razul in the background, you know, got you know, the baby over there. Like, so it's just, we're whole, right? We're whole human beings. So for me, I have from a personal standpoint, from a spiritual standpoint, you know, because my faith kind of guides that's my compass for everything else. It guides me in life and business and everything, and then business. So I want to holistically be at a good place in the next couple of years. I just wanted to state that, right? I'm not going to go into all of those. From a business standpoint, I'll be focusing on and growing in a couple areas where it will be acquisitions, automation, and I would say acquisition, automation, and I would say accumulation, right? And the reason why, and so I'll use those 3 A's, if you will, because I want to acquire X amount of companies. Like, I'm just put an X there because for me right now, I would like to acquire. My goal is to acquire about two companies a year, right? So that would be about 4. Right. So when I have about 4 businesses that I acquired that are already producing income, you know, I think you talk about the silver tsunami, acquiring these businesses that will die if someone don't buy them. So that's one, right? So I'm acquire a few businesses. As I acquire these businesses, I want to automate them, right? You want to automate them, influx technology, bring them to a level to where where they're better than where they were. And they're automated and they're kind of running on their own and have managers or whatever in place. And then I think the last one, the accumulation part, is I want to accumulate a certain level of wealth.
Right.
And that in itself it combines a few different things that we've all talked about, right? We've talked about different, in a sense, we talked about assets, right? Management of those assets. And we talked about tools, right? When James basically mentioned, what he's talking about is basically one of the tools you can use that you can basically have your money on autopilot working for itself, right? And building upon itself. So I think I spoke with James before. So I have IUL, I have trust and things set in place because I was fortunate enough, man. I think, and this is number God driven. I think God put me in a position, like, 2017, I met someone that put me on to laying out a whole kind of layout for how to start to generate and build out wealth. And that has changed, like, kind of the landscape of how I run my life from a business standpoint and how we try to acquire and build out. So it's very important for me to kind of express it the way I express it, right? Not just, hey, this is what I plan on doing, just having X amount, 10X my wealth in 2 years, right? That's probably the easiest way to put it. But the bottom line is that holistically, who we are, I plan on being a more complete individual holistically in the next couple of years, and business will be a part of it, growing in the ways that I mentioned, using those 3 A's of acquisition, automation, and accumulation.
And that's really a lifestyle that you're looking to build on, which is great.
Well, but Steve, that's a great point, because I think, as the further you get down the line in business, whether you read books, you have a mentor, it's like, oh wait, I do a lot of those things. I think it has to become a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just going to be fighting upstream the whole time. I mean, and I think what's important is to have a significant other that supports that. because again, especially having 4 kids, like my wife
That's huge.
and and we've said this before, it's like our marriage is not 50-50, it's 100% from each of us. And
Yep.
there's days we don't have as much energy to give one way or the other. But you got, and as former athletes, we know I need 110% out of you. And so I think, again, that's vital. And Fresh, you made a great point, because even when you want to accumulate wealth, man, talk to anybody over the age of 60. What is the most valuable thing to them is their time, and you can't get it back. Yeah, I mean, you really can't. And I don't want to be 18 or 28 again. But man, I am glad that I can
do.
look back. Well, but I'll tell you, and I said this to my athletes, like, I don't feel like I need to pole vault ever again, because when I was physically able to pole vault, I went out to every practice, because you'd have the old heads come in and say, oh, there's going to be a time when this ends. So I made the most out of every day. And I did that through college. So it's like, I don't wish I had it back, because I know when I had it, I gave everything I had. So I think if you live and make that the lifestyle, same thing in business, you're going to be able to look back and be like, I might have been able to make a few more moves, but for the most part, I did it the way I wanted to do it. And I'm thrilled, you know what I mean? The way the chips have fallen. So I think the biggest thing is just because Razul said that last time, just start, get going. Even if you're moving in the wrong direction, get going. And then try to find support systems like the network we have right here to bounce ideas off of, and different things where there's just way too much data and information, whether you're using AI or old Google. I mean, there is so much information for you to improve your lifestyle and your business. But this is great. Again, Steve, pulling everybody together. It's great information, and I'm thrilled that we can continue to share it. So thank you all for being a part of this, man. That's awesome.
Yes. And guys, I apologize I didn't get to all your questions. We'll keep working on that. We'll get to your questions. Laban, James, Fresh, Razul, thank you. And Fresh has the Fresh Fold Laundry Company, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, high-end laundry service, a 20-mile radius for a pickup. Now they offer a pickup. You book online, you put your clothes out there, they come, pick them up, wash, dry, fold them at lightning speed records, saving you the time. And they have an online subscription model, weekly or bi-weekly. They have deals for college students when they're coming back to campus shortly. Check out their website at freshfold-laundry.com. Guys, thanks again. This was awesome. You got a lot of feedback. I'll have to go through. I'll sift through that, Laban. So we'll have the most questions. But yeah, there were a lot of questions. Everyone appreciated this. So thank you, guys. I'm Steve Tully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at Laban.